In our diary pages today, we have a really interesting story, and it's about semen retention and how, as a man, we can harness its power and use it to our advantage to get over our exes and any other thing that is troubling our mind. If you're a grown man like me, then chances are you have dated a couple of women in the past. And of the women you've dated, some of them might have went well, so well to the point that either you get married or you're engaged, but others not so well. So for those that did not go so well, they usually end up in heartbreaks. So as a man, there are those women that in our younger ages, there are those women that we just date casually, and when it ends, there is really not so much pain that goes with it. And then as you get older, or as you get wiser, not older, as you get wiser, you meet this one woman and you fall in love. And right now I'm talking about genuine love. You genuinely love this woman. You have feelings for her. You have deeper emotions for her, more than you've ever felt for any other woman in the past. And then it happens that things don't work out as you had planned, and the relationship comes to an abrupt end. Sometimes not so abrupt, but it comes to an end when you least expect it. It could be because of your fault, things you did or did not do. It could be because of the lady's fault, or combined effort. Both of you did not do some things, or you did some things that caused your relationship to end. Now, in the event that it doesn't work out and it ends, the two of you break up or you separate, there is a way both parties handle heartbreaks. Women will go out and talk about it with other girls, and soon enough she might be able to get over it. Men, not so much. We don't talk about it so much. We ponder over it. We digest it on our own. We try our own ways of getting over it. Sometimes it's easier and it goes away. Like I said, if you're dating a woman casually, then sometimes it's really very easy to get over her. But if you're dating this woman and you really love her, it's never that easy. So I know the women in the house, the ladies in the house, women, ladies, let us say the ladies in the house, are wondering, is it even possible for a man to cry over a woman for that long? And yes, heartbreaks affect men sometimes deeper than how it affects women. So the ladies in the room, today's topic is more directed to the men, but you can sit around, listen, and give us your thoughts in the comments below. We appreciate. So to the men in the room, in the event that you have broken up and you're trying to get over this woman, you go to your kitchen to make some tea, her favorite cup is there, the cup that you bought for her, it's still there, her toothbrush is there. You go to your bathroom to take a shower, her panties are still hanging there. In your bedroom, her silky night dress and the scent of her perfume is still there. In your living room, framed pictures of her all over. So the first step sometimes that we take is clear our room of her. You're trying to get rid of her presence. You're trying to get rid of her memories. The problem is she is never in those physical things. She is usually in your mind, in your heart. She's ingrained in your body, especially if you had spent some time with her. She's ingrained in your body. She's part of you. And getting rid of her is never that easy. Now, some men might resort to bringing in another woman immediately to use her. Yes, I'll use the term use, because the other woman is not yet out of your system, but you bring in another to have sex most of the time so that you can forget about your ex. Now, that is using. You use her to try and forget, it doesn't work out. You go online, search for porn videos of women whose bodies resemble hers, and you start fapping and doing all that kind of stuff to try and simulate the kind of sexual energy you shared. It still doesn't work out. You go out to take a walk and breather, and your neighbor is grazing his cows. The cow's walking style, the graceful cow walking style, might actually remind you of her. So what I'm trying to say is there are so many things that will be reminding you of her. And when this happens to us, sometimes what we do is we start running after her almost immediately. She leaves your house today, and that evening you're on your phone. Babe, I'm sorry, it shouldn't have happened that way. Sometimes it's her fault, but because you loved her so much, you try to apologize on, it's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me. It's not you, baby, it's me. Sometimes they forgive and come back, but sometimes she's at a point where she has said, I've had enough with this guy. I am going. He will never see me again. So if your lady has gotten to that point, no matter what you do, no matter what kind of effort you do, no matter what you buy for her, no matter how many friends you send to her, she will not come back. Now you'll find yourself in a roller coaster of sending her a message after another, calling her time after again, trying to apologize, trying to remind her of those beautiful memories. You even send her pictures of the two of you together. She will still not come back. And if you're not strong enough to move on, then you might be living in this stage for a very long time. And it affects you mentally. It affects your work. It affects your physique. Because if you are someone who goes to the gym, if you are a sports person, you stop. And you end up spending a lot of time in your house crying. Yes, men cry. So, today we want to see, now that you've been trying all these methods, burning her clothes, getting rid of her memories around your house, sending her some sick messages and telling her you don't want to see her again, you've moved on, but it has not worked mentally. After you've gone through all these processes and you're still not able to get over your ex, there is still one thing you can do, and that is the purpose of this episode today. That is the reason we have our diary pages today, because that is what you want to write about. There is this one thing, and it's called semen retention, or retaining your seed. Now, I know for the men who have tried it, then it is because of that term maybe you got into watching this video, and thank you very much for joining us in this episode. And for those who don't know what semen retention is, I'll just touch on it slightly. Semen retention is keeping your seed inside you. In short, you don't ejaculate without a purpose. So Elon Musk says a lot of thought has been put into sexual pleasures without a purpose, just to pleasure the limbic system. So men put a lot of thought. Men throw a lot of money. Men throw a lot of resources chasing the vagina just to pleasure the limbic system. It's not like after you've had sex, there is anything important you achieve from that. Either way, you get tired, and most of the time you just want to rest while your goals are waiting for you. Semen is the start of life. It is that one cell that, when released in the right place at the right time, life begins. So if you cannot go to your bank, withdraw money, then go to the streets and throw it away. How many men can do that? You walk into your bank, withdraw money, take it in bunches, go to the streets and just spread it. How many men can you do that with your money? Can you just take your money and throw it away in the streets, not minding who will pick it? I bet you can't. So why do men go around spilling life aimlessly? In a day, you spill life like 3-4 times without purpose. You're not trying to create life. You're not trying to add energy. You're not trying to please your married partner. You're just spilling life outside there without a purpose. So most of us men have gotten into, and I think it's because maybe of peer pressure, the things we see online, the conversations that are going on online, that actually masturbation is safe. masturbation is the content that tells you that masturbation is good because it prevents things like prostate cancer, it makes your brain more efficient. And I think this is a system of making men weaker, because after you've masturbated and spilled your seed, most of the time you feel sleepy. If you had something to do, you'll push it to a later date because you just want to rest. Your dopamine has been released in your system, and dopamine is a feel-good hormone. It makes you feel like you just want to rest. You just want to sleep. That's why there is this saying that says, give a man cheap sex and he will throw his ambitions out of the window. Something like that. I'm not sure. So give a man cheap sex and you can be sure that he'll forget about his ambitions until that dopamine wears off. Then he comes back to his senses. Semen retention is keeping that life inside you. You keep that seed inside you. You don't spill it. And most especially, you don't spill it through masturbation. So you avoid that act of masturbation. So how does it connect to forgetting your ex? You're getting to that in a bit. So when you're dating a woman that you really love, most of the time, for most of the relationships, you will be engaged sexually. I'm saying most of the relationships because there are those women who are overly spiritual and touching them is a no-no. They are the until marriage type. So I'm talking of the other, let's say, normal. So if you're dating a woman and both of you are so much into each other, chances are you will have sex. And sometimes the sex is so good that it is the reason some people stay in abusive relationships, especially women. The man is abusive, but she will stay because the sex is heaven. Now to the man, when the sex is heaven, this is why you're not able to forget about her easily. She could be, because also women can be abusive to the man, especially those who wear the feminist badge these days, the modern woman with the feminist badge. I'm not saying feminism is bad. Don't kill me in the comments. I'm just saying some women who wear the feminist badge will kill their men with words, just with words. They will not kill them physically, just with words, shouting at him, telling him all those things he cannot do that she can do, making him feel inferior in the presence of his peers, calling him names in the presence of his peers, and when they're just the two of them, he makes this man feel small. He makes this man feel like a small. In short, she mothers this man. But if the sex is good, sometimes men tend to overlook what is happening. We tend to overlook the toxic traits of this woman, because when she decides, she will give you this really good sex that will calm your nerves, make you stupid, and make you forget the kind of woman she is to you. But time comes, she gets tired of you because of the stupid thing that you are, and then she walks out. She leaves you there. And she leaves you with a big hole. So one of the reasons most men, and I'm saying most men, one of the reasons most men cannot get over an ex-girlfriend is when the sex was really good. So even when she has left your house, most of the time when you think about her, you're thinking about her with a connection of sexual energy. When you go to your bathroom, you're looking at her panty, you're thinking of the sex. When you go to your bedroom, the scent of her perfume, it reminds you of the good sex. When you go to your kitchen to prepare coffee and her favorite cup is there, it reminds you of the good times you shared, breakfast in bed. And mostly, it is anything sexually related that makes it difficult for a man to move on. Because your mind is so clouded with the good sex that you cannot think of anything else. You simply cannot push beyond the sexual energy wall and see what other things that happened in this relationship that made it fall apart. So if you're a man who watches pornography, yes, I want to make this very open for all of us in the house today. If you're a man who watches pornography, when your woman leaves, you'll find yourself searching for videos of women with bodies that closely match hers, with complexion that closely matches hers. So that when you're masturbating, when you're fapping, you feel like you're doing it with her because your mind is all there. And you might find yourself going so deep into this that even when it gets to finding another woman, you want to look for a woman that looks like her. Why? Because you're not able to break beyond the sexual wall. So when you start practicing semen retention, and I must warn you that semen retention is never easy in the past, because your brain is used to the instant, being fed on instant gratification. Your dopamine levels are so high, your dopamine receptors are fried to the extent that you just want more and more sexual content. And when it's not coming your way, you cannot even sit and write a one paragraph page if you're a writer. If you're a photographer like me, you can't even think of creative art to produce, because your mind is taken over with sexual content. So as a man who is going through a heartbreak today, I want to give you this one secret on seed retention. When you get into seed retention, it means you avoid anything that triggers you sexually. And usually the first step to semen retention is accepting that you are a slave to sexual content, that you have some extent of addiction to sex. That is the first step. You cannot just wake up one morning and say, okay, I've had enough of sex, I'm going on seed retention. It's not going to work. You'll have so many phases of relapse. And I'm not saying relapse is wrong. We are getting into that in a minute. I'm just saying, when you start with seed retention, when you start your journey on semen retention, the first thing you need to do is acknowledge that you have been a slave of sex. Be it with your girlfriend or be it with pornography and your hand. You've had enough of having sex with your hand. You've had enough of having sex with a woman. You have to get to a point where you tell yourself, it is enough. I am tired. I need to get out of this phase. Because if you don't do that, then it's not going to happen. Then the next step is getting rid of any triggers around you, be it her clothes, be it pornographic content, be it any nudes that she sent you. This is a time now to collect all that stuff, we call them triggers, and take them to the dustbin, burn them if possible. If you have been a fan of pornography, it's time to close those tabs and actually install some softwares that can prevent you from navigating those sites. Now, seed retention has a number of benefits. One being that you keep the energy inside you, you keep the life inside you. And when you keep the life inside you, you'll start experiencing these new levels of energy. You'll start having a renewed sense of purpose. You'll start having clarity on your thoughts. When you're masturbating time and again, you have this clouded mind. You tend to forget dates. You just tend to be forgetful overall. But when you get onto seed retention, you get clarity of mind. And as you go deeper into longer streaks, maybe a month, 2, 3, into seed retention, then you'll realize that you are slowly starting to take charge of your sexual urges. I'm not saying that you'll stop feeling like you need to have sex. No, temptations will come and they will be even stronger during your seed retention. But the most important thing is you'll get to a point where you can now control the urge. And so when you get to a point where you're able to control your sexual urge, it opens your mind now to start thinking clearly. When you think of your girlfriend, you're no longer thinking of her sexually. Instead, you start thinking of her as a human being, as a woman, as a companion that you had. Now, at this point is when you start now getting clarity on some of the things she used to do. If she used to shout at you, it starts coming clear. If she used to throw words carelessly at you, it now gets clear. If she never used to care about you, your welfare as a man, it now gets clear. You see, now you've broken the sexual desire wall and you're able to see what was hidden beyond that wall. You're able to see this woman for what she was, for the uncaring woman she was. If she was cheating on you with another man, now you don't feel the jealousy of her having sex with another man. You actually see her as a cheat, as an unfaithful woman. you don't see the sex anymore. You see the unfaithful woman. Now that is the golden moment when a man's eyes open. That is a golden moment when your sexual urges go to the other side and they leave this perfect man to see clearly. So when you get to this point, and actually when you go on longer streaks of semen retention in the early stages where you kind of lose interest in women. Yes, it happens. When you're on semen retention, it gets to a time where you totally lose interest in women. You lose the urge to run after women, you lose the urge to seduce, you lose the urge to have sex, you're just there. And I think if you're going through a heartbreak, a serious heartbreak, this is the stage where you evaluate yourself and the woman you've been dating and ask yourself, was it worth it? When the sex is out of the way, you're able to see clearly. So you ask yourself, is it worth it? And an answer will come clearly. So you see, before semen retention, you are thinking of your girlfriend sexually. When you see her with a new boyfriend, it hurts you because you're starting to think, the steamy sex positions that she used to do with you, the 3 times a day pleasures that you used to have with her, she's now doing with the other man. When you're searching for porn, you're searching for people that look like her. Every time you think of her, you're thinking of how good the sex was. But when you get on semen retention, then you put your sexual urges aside. Now you're able to think clearly. So to the men on board today, if you have tried all your systems of burning her clothes, calling her names, texting her repeatedly and going to her place to kneel down, stalking her and threatening other men who are trying to date her. If you have tried all that, I'm sure it has not worked. She has not come back. She has not responded to your text. She has not called you back. She has not visited your place. She has not even come back to collect her toothbrush. Meaning all your systems are not working, and it's because you have been stuck on the sex. So I need you to start your journey on semen retention. It is never going to be easy, and I need you to try out semen retention. Keep your seed inside you. Stop having an affair with your hand. Let it go. Cleanse your system of any pornographic content you've been watching. That is the first step. And tell yourself you're going to try going for 7 days without watching porn, without masturbating. That is the first step. So with sex out of the way and with your renewed sense of purpose, I'm sure you can ask clear questions, get clear answers, and you'll chart a way forward, a path that will lead you into letting your ex go and taking a path that will lead you into other greater things in future. So gentlemen, and of course ladies in the room, if you have enjoyed today's episode, engage with me in the comments below. Tell me, have you learned anything new? If you've been thinking of starting on semen retention, what do you think are the benefits you're going to get? And of course, don't forget to hit the like button so that this video might reach other gentlemen who are trying to forget their exes. And for the ladies, I know you've enjoyed the topic. Let me know what you think also in the comments below as we wait to engage again in the next episode of our diary pages. And keep hydrated.